Good morning.
Good morning. I like the almond milk flavor in it. It's very nice.
What does your cup say?
Say it's cat lady. Thank you. Danny. Home is where the cat is.
Yeah, it's Daniela's mug.
Hi friends, welcome to my video and welcome back to my channel. Today I am sharing a drink recipe. It's kind of a rarity on my channel. I don't have a lot of drink recipes, but today I'm sharing something that we call Badaam Doodh, and that translates into almond milk, but it's not exactly the almond milk that you might be thinking of. It's a powdered and spiced mixture that you can incorporate into milk. And of course, it's VEGANUARY. It's an entirely vegan January, so I will be making this vegan-friendly version of Badaam Doodh. And I hope you enjoy it. Now, as I mentioned, this is a spiced powdered almond mixture, and these are simply the ingredients that I am choosing to use. They're also down in the description box for you, but everybody kind of makes their own version of this. The constant ingredient would of course be the almonds themselves. Every version of this includes some kind of ground up or powdered almonds, but the other things, the cardamom, cloves, peppercorns, etc., those are kind of interchangeable and even omittable if necessary. It's really up to your preference. So here I am adding my almonds to a spice blender. It's the same blender that I use for spices, coffee, pretty much anything where I want to make a powder. And I've blitzed this up, but you can see that there's still a few little pieces of almond that are not entirely powdered. That's okay, we're gonna deal with those as we go. I am sifting the powder to ensure a very fine texture, and there's no order in particular that you have to follow when it comes to blending this up. You just add all of your ingredients to the spice blender and powder them. Of course, it depends on the size of your blender, so add as much as you can as you go along without overworking your blender too much, and then, as I suggested, you can sift them into a larger bowl. The last thing that I am going to powder, and that is really so that it dissolves easily into the beverage, is the sugar. You can of course use powdered sugar if you have it. I didn't have any, so I powdered my own sugar. Alright, so that is the last ingredient that I powdered myself to put in here. I have the little bits of almonds that are left over. I'm going to keep those aside for later. And I'm adding the final two ingredients, which are already powdered. That's the ginger and a bit of haldi. Now the haldi is not necessarily to make your drink yellow. I'm adding it kind of as a formality because it has some Ayurvedic properties, which I can't really talk about because I'm not an expert, but it's more of a formality. You know, it's good for immunity, good for inflammation. You can look it up yourself. So when it comes to actually making the beverage here, I have the patila or the pot in which I'm going to boil my almond milk. You can of course use any milk of your preference. You can even use dairy milk if you would so like to. I of course have my powdered mixture that I made and my residual almonds that I am going to deal with a little later on. So it's really all downhill from here. That sounds really pessimistic. I want to say that it's really all very easy from this point onward. You simply measure out the amount of milk that you're going to have, add that to your pot over the element, and warm it up. Now, in terms of measurement, I like to add 1 small spoon of this mixture, but it's up to you. It's up to how much flavor you want to add to your milk. I would say that's probably a tablespoon's worth for each cup of whatever kind of milk you've added to the pot. And then you want to warm this up, bring it up to not necessarily a rolling boil, but a simmer would be nice. And that's going to take anywhere from, that could take an indefinite amount of time, but I would suggest that you do not leave this and walk away. Because we know that a pot, whether it's watched or not watched, will eventually come to a boil. So don't leave it for too long. If it's starting to, almost boil over, you want to catch it in time. So don't leave it and walk away. All right, my drink is made. I've heated it up, and here are the residual almonds that I'm just, mashing up a little more with my mortar and pestle. And I am going to sprinkle some of the finer bits of this on the top of my beverage. So I've got my cup. It's more of glass really, and I'm pouring out my drink. nice and piping hot. It's so comforting and delicious and spicy at the same time. And I'm adding a few little bits of those almonds on top, something to nibble on while I sip my drink. That's it, friends. I really, really hope that you like this recipe. Give it a thumbs up, subscribe, and I'll see you back here next week for our last VEGANUARY episode. Okay, bye-bye.